Hi Gemini, welcome to your July 2020 love reading. It's Raina here. I almost spaced out there for a second. What else did I want to say? Oh, this reading is for people who are single as well as those people who are in unhappy relationships. And then the first card I get. Gosh, boy, does that look like some other spread that I did, like one of the first ones. It is so freaky. Yeah, I have been getting some of the same cards over again. Oh well, at least there's a difference. Sorry about the train. I have the window open. What can I say? It's a warm day. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Six of Swords, and this is a card of leaving behind something that is inharmonious and choosing peace in your life. So this can be, I don't know if I got that for Aries, but I'll just give an example. Like Aries is a sign where a person may think, erroneously, I believe, that the spice of life is a little bit of conflict. And so they're always with people that they are sparring partners, that they're just kind of like always sniping and, you know, bickering, and that just is normalized for them. And if you realize that you're in that type of relationship, and hopefully that's the worst of it, that you are able to sense that and to leave. So that would obviously be for people who are, in a relationship right now. One thing too is that this can be a card of relocation. So maybe you have recently or are about to, or preparing to relocate and concerned about either somebody that you have gotten to know a little bit, or that you just, you know, will there be anybody for me in wherever I'm going? And my feeling is that it's great to relocate, because sometimes you never know where the universe wants you to go, and that could be the place where you find your soulmate. And if you hadn't gone, you wouldn't have done it. Just like going off to college instead of, you know, sometimes those things, that's where people find their life partner. In the past position, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and this can be the person who is financially independent, and, you know, even, I would say even in 2020, looking at women in this way is still going to be a significant situation, although maybe not. Maybe women, younger women especially, have more resources than their male counterparts of the same age group. I wouldn't be surprised, like the millennial generation. So that's its own can of worms, because that kind of flips the power structure upside down. If the woman is the one who earns the most money, or or even is employed at all compared to the male, and looking for a partner in their relative age range, and finding that most of the males their age are underemployed, or they work at low-wage jobs, and there's that feeling of the woman having to be the financial, provider when the relationships get serious. Or even if they're dating, you know, the male is broke as a joke, can't even pay Dutch. And by the way, I know that I have some people from the Netherlands, so I hope it's not a slur to say page. I hope it's not It probably is. It's probably like, maybe they're saying that Dutch people are cheap or something. And they only want to pay their own way. I'm going to have to check that out, but I'm sorry if I'm being politically incorrect. I never really thought about that before, but it probably is something like that, which is funny. I think I have a lifetime where I was Dutch. Holland, I just get excited when I think of Holland. I've never been to Europe. But anyway, that was kind of a detour. So, okay. And the higher message is the Hermit card. So, this is kind of looking within about your situation. If you're someone who feels a sense of like, maybe you're single, Gemini, and it feels like getting involved in relationships is a bit risky because you don't want the drama and you've had it in the past. It's important to reflect on past relationships, even though they may be unpleasant memories, because what you may find is that there's something there that indicates perhaps that you played into that in some way. So an example would be that you always pick the type of person who's a hothead, and then you feel kind of stressed out that you're in a relationship with that person. And maybe you're too rash getting into relationships and you don't see some of these negative traits until you're in deep. So this is kind of like looking at it from that perspective. And I think this card kind of illustrates that as well. This is the challenge card, and it's a Nine of Swords. So this is, I'm reading this as a challenge position, but even the upright is the challenge position, because the Nine of Swords is about anxiety and situations that feel very unsettled and anxious. And the truth is, at least from my perspective, is that a lot of times what happens is that people are feeling anxious in their life and saying it's because they don't have someone in their life, they need to have a person, when in fact there's something else going on. See, and it becomes like a vicious circle, because then the person is looking for a partner to kind of be their security blanket or to be their distraction, and they're not, and they go from one relationship to the next. Or sometimes, the Geminis like things in pairs, maybe having two relationships going at the same time. And that kind of thing can lead to anxiety because the person is not dealing with whatever is truly bothering them or what is unhealed, which is probably what is bothering them, but you know what I mean. So it's important to look at those things. Gemini is like a butterfly flitting from flower to flower, and it's important to settle down, stop your thoughts to the best of your ability. You're not going to, be completely mindless, and I'm talking about that in Buddhist terms, but to be able to gain more clarity and understand yourself better, but also understand of what it is that you're going towards, what you want. And then what's coming in, or the advice, the Hierophant. This card is connected to Taurus, and I did get some earth element up there, but this is kind of reiterating to me the Hermit. And this is more on the outer level to me, where it's the life philosophy that you live by, studying different types of religious teachings. The Hierophant is actually a card of marriage. So if something has occurred in your marriage that has felt, and I don't know exactly what that would be, if it's a problem, maybe it has something to do with money, because when I see the Nine of Pentacles, if you are the one who is supporting another person, and if that situation just came about recently and you feel trapped because of it, you might be overreacting. If that person has been self-supporting for a long time and then suddenly something has changed, there may be a good reason for that. And the Hierophant could be about you saving your marriage. Obviously, other factors would have to cooperate with that. But this is a card of tradition. So something that is traditional like marriage seems to be what you are, grappling with. If you're single, even if you have been opposed to traditional relationships, and maybe that's one of the things that is bothering you, is that you're with somebody who wants that type of thing, and that makes you feel trapped, and that's what the Nine of Swords represents. And that's understandable. I totally get that. What I would still do is I would do some inquiry, self-inquiry, reflecting into that situation and think about that individual, because maybe that's just the tip of the iceberg and it's showing you that you have basic incompatibility with this person. And if that's the case, that's okay. That doesn't say anything bad about either one of you, and actually can free you from feeling obligated to stay with somebody that obviously it's not happening. The outcome card is the Temperance card, and this is about 1 foot in water, 1 foot on land, the spirit and the flesh, the mundane and the spiritual, and balance between the two. When we emphasize too much of one, the other is pretty much ignored, and that's where you get a lot of the problems, where people don't appreciate that side of life, where they don't appreciate the spiritual side. If they are just absorbed in their careers, absorbed in raising a family, making money, and all that stuff. And same with, the spiritual, not being grounded enough. And even being, like, you could say, well, being spiritual, that would be good for attracting a mate. And not really, because sometimes some very imbalanced people are very intuitive, which is kind of a paradox. But they're kind of deluded in some ways, because they're only seeing what they want to see. They're very good at visualizing. Get a muffler. They're very good at visualizing. They're very good at, even maybe some of them are good at manifesting, but they're not necessarily good at perceiving the unpleasant things. So sometimes with light workers and psychic people, the shadow side can be intentionally neglected. And it's there, and it's part of us. It's part of life. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. Also, the Temperance card is connected to Sagittarius. So there might be that's your opposite sign. That might play into things in some way. I hope you enjoyed this, Gemini. And if you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.